Hello, this is Steven Allen. Yes, we are back with yet another Batman 66 episode review. And today, we'll be reviewing the episode King Tut's Coup, with King Tut once again back to battle the dynamic duo. So without any less than further ado, let's pop into the review. We begin our episode at Yale University, where Professor William McElroy and two of his college students walking around preparing for the big trip to Gotham City Park for their class. However, the students tell him should he be worried considering his King Tut persona. But he says, don't worry, I've taken every precaution. Just as that happening, pop plants begin to fall down on both him and the college students. The college students start to think that he in real life is King Tut, and they begin to worship him. But as the plant falls on his head, he reverts back to the iconic King Tut persona. He and them later go to the Gotham Museum, where they end up stealing a sarcophagus from the exhibit and end up knocking out a guard. Just as that happening, Commissioner Gordon decides to call up Bruce Wayne, thinking because it is Egyptian that Bruce Wayne might know something. Now, this is something I really begin to notice. Every time King Tut pops up, Bruce Wayne at least plays some kind of role in the story, specifically the Bruce Wayne persona. Just as he calls up Wayne Manor, Alfred goes and takes Batman into Bruce into the study, knowing that it will probably lead to a Batman call soon later. Just as that's happening, just as that whole thing is happening, we also see that Aunt Harriet, Dick, and Bruce are dressed up in both Roman and Egyptian garb for a costume ball to the house later tonight. On the call, it doesn't take long for Bruce to suggest to call Batman, realizing the sarcophagus could easily lead to King Tut. Just as Gordon then calls Batman, Batman answers, opening credits as always. We then get the opening to find we then go to police headquarters, where they then get a phone call that a person by the name of Sphinx has been essentially attacked in his apartment, and Batman and Robin quickly head there. We then find King Tut is hiding in his hideout at the Pyramid Club along with his gang, where he reveals his latest caper. Though the Sphinx was basically to call that King Tut was back in town, his real objective is to kidnap the Lisa Carson who's dressed as Cleopatra. You see, what he believes is that this Lisa Carson is in real life Cleopatra and plans to have her as his queen. Just as that's happening, Batman and Robin goes to Sphinx's apartment and quickly retrieve the note that was left there, but also have him untied. They then go to the Batcave and decode the message, saying essentially King Tut is back and plans his big caper at the party. Batman then calls up Commissioner Gordon and to have some of his men to go undercover there in case of King Tut's attack. But King Tut is well aware of this and plans to trick the police and have them instead arrest Deputy Mayor Zorti, as Mayor Linseed is out of town for some fair. Just as that's happening, King Tut's plan almost works to a T. The policemen accidentally arrest the deputy mayor and take him out back. Just as that's happening, he comes and pretends to be essentially Mayor Linseed. Two of his men, posing as police, or pretending to be undercover police, go to Bruce and tell him about the plan to apprehend King Tut, and they need his help along with Lisa. The plan goes so well for King Tut, he ends up leaving with Lisa. The police end up coming back to the real police end up coming back after we see a scene where they go to Police Commissioner Gordon's office, arresting the wrong man, and have to explain to Deputy Mayor Zorti about the whole thing. He's chilled with it, understanding, but he tells us they failed to get the right king this time, they'll all be pounding a beat. Just as they arrive, they find out that Lisa has been essentially kidnapped. Realizing that, Bruce and Dick leave to go back to the Batcave, Batman and Robin. They end up tracking to King Tut's location because Batman put a tracking device on Lisa in case of an emergency like this. They end up going to the Pyramid Club. Batman goes on the roof, but Robin on the ground ends up getting captured and taken in by King Tut's men. King Tut is still trying to woo Lisa, who he still believes is Cleopatra. I really like how we get to see really how bonkers he is, believing that this woman really is Cleopatra. I love every minute of it. She is then taken to the so-called dungeon, But Robin is brought before King Tut's feet, realizing that he's here not to take long before Batman arrives. Batman then arrives and a bat fight breaks out, but because only Batman versing the goons, he ends up getting knocked out. Batman is then placed in a sarcophagus and then is put down at the bottom of essentially a pool, and he plans to essentially drown him. And I love how Victor Buono just goes off the rails here with this one last line. It's really fun, and that is essentially our cliffhanger. A pretty damn good one in my opinion. The main cast is fine as always. I like Bruce Wayne interaction with Lisa. The reaction between those, relationship between those two is fine and really interesting. I just really wish we could get more Alfred and Harriet scenes, and Gordon and Chief O'Hara, still the bumbling detectives. It's still fun as always. Batman and Robin, fine as always. The main cast is fun, but let's talk about King Tut himself. Victor Buono was back as King Tut, and it's been quite a while since we went up against this Pharaoh. And I think definitely by this point, Buono has finally gotten is fully comfortable in the role of King Tut. True, he was, I said that he was in his second appearance, but by this time, he's finally comfortable. And also like how we see a little bit of what he's like before he's King Tut, the nice professor, and also we get maybe a little explanation to why people follow him, at least his henchmen, maybe because they suffer from the same head injury too. I like that we get to see that. It's really interesting. Also, I gotta think about this plot. Now, usually we haven't tried to take over Gotham through Egyptian methods, but this really goes to show just how demented he is, and he wants to kidnap this woman because he believes she is Cleopatra, and that she will become his queen. I absolutely love it, and we get to really understand more of his unhinged personality here, something I think is rarely talked about with the King Tut character. At least I think in these episodes was the first time to really kind of address, how bonkers off the rail he is. And that ending scene with him drowning Batman, you can tell that Victor Buono is having a blast with this role, and I firmly believe this was probably his most favorite role to play. Cleopatra, and I want to point out Cleopatra here, Lisa Carson. If this woman looks familiar, that's because she should. This is Lee Merriweather, the woman who portrayed Catwoman in the '66 Batman movie. I like how they brought her back for a little bit of continuity, not really so much on continuity, but a little bit of just fun fan service, because everyone liked her in that movie. We get to bring her here, but this time she's playing a radically different character, and I believe that that she's making this small role absolutely incredible to watch. Lee Merriweather is, for me, perfect in this role. She is absolutely fantastic. Here we get yet another window cameo. The woman here is Susie Knickerbocker. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that last name right, but she was like a famous gossip and society columnist, and I like how she just pops out here. She was also a frequent panelist on the long-running game show What's My Line, which of that year was I think its final season. And I like how she's basically in town because she wants to meet like Bruce Wayne and all that, and it is essentially making fun of the whole celebrity, how Batman and Robin are, and essentially in real life Adam West and Burt Ward were at this time. I absolutely love it. So far, King Tut's Coup is so far a really good and enjoyable episode. The fact we finally got King Tut back and a very different plot than what we used to is really interesting. Also, they brought Lee Merriweather, the actress who played Catwoman in the movie. I like how they brought her back for a little role. Though minor it is, it's still fun and enjoyable. And I really feel that right now, after that, we're kind of picking up episode interest after, honestly, a bit of with the Joker and Catwoman episodes that I personally weren't really that huge of fans of. Well, correction, the Joker episode I weren't a fan of. The Catwoman of Julie Newmar's last one I gained a little bit of favour with. But when we got that crossover and now this one, I feel like we're picking up interest in the series. And there we have it. That was King Tut's coup. Join us next time where we review the Part 2 Batman's Waterloo. So until next time for the same Steven hour, the same Steven channel, ladies and gentlemen, so long for now.